Let me tell you something extremely exciting. This population growth is an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity. Cities around the world are building satellite cities. Brisbane is building Springfield. Melbourne is redoing Geelong. Hong Kong built Shenzhen. Beijing is rebuilding one of their cities. This is what cities around the world do. They build new cities. We don't shoehorn people into suburbs. We don't shoehorn them into all these different areas that we can't actually get infrastructure to. We have the opportunity to build a brand new city, a city from the ground up, putting the best infrastructure in. If we want to put driverless car technology in there, we can, because we're building it from the ground up. And you know, when you build a city from the ground up, it's 10 times cheaper to build. We can build a city with 300,000 people there in the next 10 years. We know where to put the schools, the police, the ambulance, the fire department. We know when to build a hospital, because we're going to need a hospital with this growth. Where else are we going to build it? The university. We have something, a plan that we can be proud of. This population growth is a gold mine. It'll make Auckland rich. We have many opportunities, and we need to take advantage of it, and we need to look at the rest of the world and see how they've done it, and we need to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what's happening in Auckland is just part of a bigger trend globally, which is urbanisation. So every day, 179,000 people are moving into cities around the world, and that's what we are experiencing here. Unfortunately, New Zealand really only has one big city, and that's Auckland. And so until we grow in population, it's quite hard to grow other big cities where people, want to come. A couple of things, like Mark, I share his view. I've debated Phil 15, 20 times now, and every time, except tonight, he's talked about slowing down immigration and controlling the demand side. I don't believe in that, and I don't support that. We have an incredible opportunity to see a path to scale and see a path to Auckland having an incredible space on the world stage as a world-class global city. And that's the opportunity that I want to take, to stand up a council that, as I said before, is equal to the beauty of Auckland, that is efficient, that spends your money wisely, and that has a plan for investing in infrastructure for the next 30 years. The final thing is that you need a leader, a mayor, who is inclusive. And that's not just inclusive of other cities across New Zealand. In Chorus, I ran an initiative called Gigatown. I worked with 15 local councils across New Zealand. I have good relationships right across New Zealand to include them in the prosperity of Auckland's growth. But we also need a leader that is inclusive to bring together the incredibly multiculturally diverse Auckland. And we talked earlier about how do we use ethnic media or Chinese media to get our messages to you. Well, actually, how do you have a mayor that takes your messages back and then starts transmitting them to all the other cultures around Auckland so that we come together as a city and we make the most out of our diversity? Because if it's one thing I've learned in business, having diverse teams will deliver incredible results. And we need a dash of that in the Auckland Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
to Mark and to Vic's comments. If Auckland is to grow and the government is to allow it to have, we've at the moment got record levels of migration into New Zealand, then the obligation of government, if it's going to grow, is to make sure we can cater for that growth. And my challenge to government, any government, is this. If you want that growth, then provide the infrastructure. But don't give us the growth without the infrastructure, because that simply leads to Auckland being the third least affordable city in the world and fast becoming increasingly congested and gridlocked. And yes, if the government is slow in providing that infrastructure, then we need to slow the growth coming into the city. That's common sense. That's what governments have done for time immemorial. You speed up migration when you need migration, and you slow it down. A lot of our migration at the moment is on work visa. We have also high levels of people coming back from Australia. We also have high levels of people on permanent migration. I am a pro-immigration person. My father is a migrant to this country. Immigration enriches us, gives us talent and energy. But it doesn't mean to say that you create a faster growth in your city than the infrastructure can cope with. If you do that, you simply create problems for all of the people living in the city. And if there's any suggestion, Mark or Vic, that this is about ethnocentrism, I want to say this to you. I was part of the Longi Labor government that made immigration to New Zealand not an immigration system that favoured Australia, United States, United Kingdom, but equal to all people across the world. I've got an electorate that is the most multicultural electorate in New Zealand, and I'm incredibly proud of it. I'm proud of watching the kids grow up in our schools, learning together, playing together, working together. So I don't want any comments that imply in any way that I'm ethnocentric. There's no person in this room that believes that. I've worked with all of you year after year, and I'm proud of what you do. But it doesn't mean to say that I'm so stupid that you have to keep increasing your population but not provide the infrastructure to cater for that population. That is the politics of stupidity. If we want to keep growing at this rate, provide the infrastructure. If you can't provide the infrastructure now, slow down the growth a bit. That's common sense. That's all it is.
His policy is to lower immigration, but unfortunately for him, that's not the job of the Mayor of Auckland. I think he should be campaigning for perhaps one of his old jobs as Minister for Immigration. The job of the Mayor of Auckland is to do the best job we can with the things we control. And we control a lot of levers, as we discussed. So that's what I'm focused on, is making sure that I'm making us fitter and stronger, more affordable, providing the transport, and actually working more collaboratively with our immigrant population. So this is not a race debate here. This is about being clear what our policies are. And I'm not accusing Phil of being anything other than we know that he is. And that's someone who's mainly focused on the government end of the stick, when actually what you want is someone who's focused on the Auckland end of the stick. Sheshe.
I think the fact that both Mark and I raised that indicates that you have said that several times, Phil. Yeah, not that way though, but that's okay. The other issue is that, quite simply, the government is not responsible for building infrastructure in Auckland. No, it's not. And if we believe that they are, we are in massive trouble. So in Melbourne, Sydney, Vancouver are all growing incredibly fast. In fact, as fast, if not faster than we are. So in Melbourne, who do you think is responsible for building the equivalent of the CRL, the twin tunnel, 9-kilometre track underground? The people responsible is not the government, Phil. It is the people of Melbourne. No, it's not. It's actually not. So we need leadership that stands up and takes the responsibility for what council is responsible for delivering. We know how fast our city is growing. We know how many houses we need. You can laugh, I don't care. We know how many houses we need. We know where our roads need to go. We know what public transport we need to go. And we need to be providing direction, not just to the government, but to public-private partners out there and saying, please, here are the areas that you need to come and partner with council to stand up infrastructure to meet the growth of Auckland and make us the amazing city that scale and opportunity is going to bring us. Thank you.
You know, we need a leader that actually puts plans on the table that the government is going to actually want to fund. It's not your responsibility to be paying for the growth of Auckland in your rates. It's not your responsibility. Your responsibility in your rates has been to pay for the repair of your infrastructure and for your services. The growth is a responsibility of both council and central government. Now, I'll give you an example. When I talk about the satellite city and bringing 300,000 people to live in a new city, that's $12 billion a year in household income. That's $4 billion a year that's going to automatically go to central government. That's another $1 to $2 billion a year in GST and then $1.2 billion a year in rates. Now, when I sit central government around a table and say, that's what I plan for Auckland, and you're going to fund it with me? You're damn right they will. Thank you.
All right, because you want to keep on going? Everybody want to continue? Really quick, short. Yeah.
Just common sense. Local government and central government on these big picture issues need to work together. that is just too silly to say that this is just local government and this is central government. They need to work together in a collaborative way. And what may surprise some of you, although I've never been a politician yet, that I have actually had a lot of experience in working with central government. I have regularly petitioned Parliament asking for inquiries and matters, things to be done, and I can actually provide the evidence that shows, although I'm a political activist and these select committees might be dominated by National Party MPs, that they are listening, and I have got results from working in with central government. So, thank you.